What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in with Callie. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already. So this is what it comes down to. I feel like it's one player on the Clippers that I need to step up this year. And a lot of people might not be talking about him, but I feel like he needs to have a bigger impact on the team going forward. And the player I'm talking about is Bones Hyland. Bones Hyland is a really good young player, good energy. When he's in the game, I feel like he's a spark for the team. He's almost like a Terrence Mann, except I think he can score better, I believe, than Terrence Mann can. So, I mean, if both of them play in the shooting guard position, which they do, Ty Lue's going to have to find ways to give, Bones Hyland a little bit more minutes. But of course, that's also based on the fact of how well Bones Hyland plays with the minutes he's given. Now, last year he averaged 6.9 points a game with like maybe 2 assists. And we know why he didn't really get that much opportunity to play, probably as he would have liked or hoped, since he's been, put on this team since they traded for him to, get him from the Denver Nuggets. I feel like the Clippers have to utilize him a lot more. I mean, Terrence Mann is really good. And hopefully Terrence Mann can be a little bit more assertive offensively, at least from that three-point line. Because I think Terrence Mann, I feel like he can shoot pretty decent from the three-point line. He shot pretty good last year. At one stretch of the season, he was shooting around 38% from the three-point line in one stretch last year. So, I mean, he definitely, has it in him. But now he has more of the green light because Paul George isn't there. And maybe that'll help Terrence Mann not be gun shy a little bit. But if Terrence Mann does not step up the way he should, I feel like Bones Hyland should get more of that, opportunity, because when we look at what Bones Hyland can do, he can shoot. He's fast off the dribble. He can get to the rim. And one thing about Bones that I like a little bit more than Terrence Mann, even though they're both energetic guys, Bones has a little bit more killer mentality in him, I think. Terrence Mann, as I said, there are times where he looks a lot gun shy to me. And that could be because, all the stars on the floor and on the team, and he feel like maybe he should just, play his role and don't try to step out of his boundaries. It could be because of that. So I'm not discrediting Terrence Mann by any means. I'm just saying that, based upon both of their game plays, I feel like Bones got more of that killer instinct. Bones would not be scared to take the last shot of a game if given the opportunity. Whereas I feel like Terrence Mann would try to find Kawhi or, James Harden or somebody like that to take the last shot rather than it be on him, which is fine too. But at the same time, a guy with that killer mentality, you can get a lot more out of him than what, you've gotten if you give him more opportunity. And here's the opportunity here, because as I said, in which we all know, Paul George isn't there. They're missing 20 plus points a game now, and they have to make that up somehow. And between Terrence Mann and Bones Hyland, they should be able to do that very easily. I mean, Bones, like I said, to me, he could play the point guard position, or he could play the 1 or the 2 position. More than likely, I feel like Ty Lue's going to try to have him at the 2 because he wants James Harden more at the 1 most of the night, and maybe switch him off maybe at the 2 every now and then if James Harden needs a break or, something of that nature. I feel like Ty Lue, if he does use Bones, he's going to keep him in that 2 position, pretty much where he has been. I mean, he's played some point guard, of course, but that was more like when the Clippers were playing point guard, I'd say by committee between him and Russ, and before James Harden got there. So, I mean, I see him playing more the 2 role, but if that's what he's going to play, then, like I said, I need more out of Bones Hyland. Because, I mean, between him and Terrence Mann, they should be able to combine together, should make up for, or combined together have the amount of points equal out to the amount of points that Paul George was, scoring last year. Paul George scored 23 points a game last year. Between both of them, I think that, if Bones comes off the bench still, which I think he will, I think he can, he should be able to average, somewhere in double digits. He should be averaging 10 to 11 points per game going forward, I feel like, in this season. And Terrence Mann should be able to give you 10 to 16, per game, if he's the starter. So, I mean, with that, there go your 23, 25 points right there. But they really need consistency in that area. If they get the consistency, that area, and then, of course, you got Norman Powell who can come out there and just give you 30 or 40 on any given night because he's just that good of a scorer. That's an additional plus. What I'm saying? That of course, that's their 6th man. But at the same time, that's even better for the Clippers because that puts their scoring up a lot more. They they've made up for the points that Paul George would be putting out on a single night. But of course, like I said, they have to do it consistently. And that's going to be the tough part, but it can be done. It can be done. I'm not saying they're Paul George by any means, because none of those players are Paul George. Paul George, he still has a little bit of elite in his game, I'll say, and he is a better player than those guys. But what I'm saying is they can kind of sort of piece it together by committee and get, points from Bones, get about 9 to 10 from Bones and get about 10 to 15 from, Terrence Mann and others. I feel like by committee, they can keep their offense at a pretty fine tune if they do it by committee consistently, of course. And I think with James Harden and Kawhi, that you just nothing to be said about them. They'll figure it out offensively. But the way this team is built right now, offense is really the key of what people are going to look at a lot more with this team, simply because they're missing a all-star in Paul George who can really go out there and get a bucket any night and, score with the best of them when he's actually in rhythm. So I definitely understand that. But at the same time, I think people really do need to look at this team defensively. I think defensively they can be a very, very tough, gritty team that teams would not want to see in a 7-game series, because these guys are physical and they got guys that can defend on the perimeter, along with Kawhi Leonard, who hasn't even played yet. So, I mean, when you think about the totality of this team and what they have, and if they can get a guy to come along, offensively and, play, be energetic on both sides, like a Bones Hyland, along with a Terrence Mann, then the team might be a lot more well-rounded on both ends of the floor. Because even if Terrence Mann doesn't score that much, you still have Bones Hyland coming off the bench who can give them a spark, and then it can kind of like balance it out a little bit at times when one of them might be off or something like that, because you still got Kawhi and James out there. They'll be scoring like crazy. And then, Derrick Jones Jr. will get some opportunities to score. And then whoever else is in the starting lineup, of course, will get opportunities to score easily. But definitely Bones definitely needs to make an impact this season. You know what I mean? Because he's been there a couple seasons now. He's seen the operation, and now it should be more of a green light for him. So hopefully Ty Lue won't hold him back and kind of like unleash him a little bit and see what he can do. Because I know he can average more than 7 points a game. I personally think if he was a starter, he'd be averaging somewhere around 17 points a game plus if he was a starter, with about 6 or 7 assists. I think he's a solid, player like that. And maybe even he might have more to his game than what we know. We just have to see more from him. So, I mean, hopefully Ty Lue will definitely explore his options with him and others on the team, because, as I said, it's going to have to be a collective effort from everybody, especially not knowing how much your superstar and Kawhi Leonard's going to play through this season. And it's looking kind of iffy in the beginning part going into the season, but hopefully it pans out for the best, and hopefully they can be the contending team that I believe they can if they can stay healthy and get contributions from everybody.